This one mistake is what restricts many people when it comes to relationships and just before relationships. So it comes in two different stages. So we're going to go into them individually. And by the end of this video, hopefully, you will stop making these relationship mistakes because you probably don't have much female attention. You probably don't have the best relationships. And yeah, so let's get into it. So, what I want to talk about today is standards, having standards for your relationships, right? So, before you even get into a relationship, you need to accept the fact that you are going to be alone and unmarried and partnerless for the rest of your life. You have to accept the fact that there's a chance that you're never going to settle down. I've had to do it, and everybody else you look up to has thought this way. Because if you are not okay with just being on your own and doing your own thing, then you're going to approach dating in a very, what's the word? You're going to approach dating in a desperate manner, which again isn't great for anybody, right? And it's very interesting, right? Because the last thing you need, and dating is on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It is. Everybody knows that. So it is a human need. But if you're desperate and needy, you're not going to get any women, right? With me personally, I am okay with the fact that there's a chance that I will never, ever settle down because of my standards and because of my expectations. But if you think about it, most women have standards and they're very, very, very high, which is fine, right? Fucking whatever. But the minute a man has some standards, he's called toxic, he's called this, and he's called that, and he's called everything under the sun, right? But having standards is normal. You must have standards for the woman that you're going to date. It's that simple, right? So, again, right? So, before you even get into a relationship, you need to know exactly what you're looking for in a woman, what traits you don't want, and what you do want in a woman, right? Because it's not just all about figuring out what you do not want and stuff that she has that you don't want her to have, but it's also noticing the characteristics and traits that she does have and aligning them. Now, do with this what you will. It's not up to me to decide your life, not up to me to set out your standards, right? But for me, I usually give, I used to give a bit of leniency. Do you understand me? I used to give a bit of leniency when it came to standards. Now you're probably thinking, oh, I'm settling. No, right? So I have a long list of things I look out for, right? And then from there might be one or two things that the girl has that's on my no-no list that I might overlook if the rest of them are all ticked off. That's how I approached it in the past, right? If all the yes list is ticked off, but the no list is one or two things, then you can give a bit of leniency. That's how I usually approach it, right? Now, with my no-no list, I show it to people. Like when we're talking about standards, when I'm talking to friends about standards and stuff, and it's a conversation that we're having, I do show them exactly what I look for, right? And look, right? I'm not saying that you have to be rude and ignorant to any girl who you don't deem as wife quality. That's not what I'm saying. Because I have some friends who are female, right? I do. I have friends and they're female. And these friends, they are very interesting people. I actually get along really well with them. But I wouldn't date them, right? There's people I hang around with, and you can check my Instagram if you want. Don't have as many of those posts up anymore. But I like to have days out and stuff, and you know, I'll have days out with females, males, whatever. But like, doesn't mean I'm going to want to date that girl or date her. You understand me? So you can have female friends as long as you know what you're looking for in a woman, right? And it's very interesting. So the way I approach it, and it's one of two things. One of two things. So either they have to be extremely, extremely feminine, or they have to be on the other extreme, not masculine, but on the other extreme of they're very hardworking, they have huge goals and aspirations, and they're not just talking about those goals and aspirations, but they are they are actively working towards it. So like whereas my dreams and aspirations are all the way up here and I intend on making it all the way to the top, these women are also working towards something. Now that doesn't mean OF. That does not mean working hard at being a millionaire on OF or any of those sites. That means doing something that benefits society. Like this type of content that I post, the videos I post, help you to get to the next level and call out the bullshit and call out the excuses you're giving yourself, right? So that's how I do things, right? Flat out. And it'd be have to be something similar then, hardworking. Like let's say she wants to be a doctor or a nurse or a surgeon, or she wants to have a YouTube channel and teach people a certain skill. And she is aiming very high with that, and I'm all for that. You know, one of either extreme. But if she's masculine, too masculine, but doesn't have the business capabilities on top of it, it's a no no for me, right? And now we're 8 minutes in, right? But that's the point I'm trying to get at, right? One of two extremes. Now, some of the standards I have are very simple. No previous sexual past. Flat out. I will not date a girl that has a previous sexual past, right? Simple as. And you can take that. And disclaimer, I'm only going to name about 4 to 5, 3 to 5 ish. I'm not going to give them all on here, right? But, as I said, none at all, right? Simple, flat out. Now, that's not hypocritical. Like, if a girl doesn't want to date a guy with a previous sexual past, fine. Fine. But me, I won't date a girl with a previous sexual past, right? Simple as. And I don't care otherwise. And no amount of convincing is ever going to convince me. It's just not going to happen, right? Another one that I don't allow is a girl that parties every week. Now, I occasionally go out, occasionally, right? And in the past, I've had female friends who I've went out with. Now, I've never, ever dated any of these girls, as I said, which is what I'm trying to say. You don't hate on these people, right? You just don't hate on them at all. What you do is you can be friends with them, you know, but don't. You can be friendly with them, but don't. But I wouldn't date them, right? But if she parties every single week and gets blacked out drunk, no, for me. Not happening. Right? Tattoos. Depends. It's one of the ones I can be a bit lenient on. But when you're with me, you're not getting any more tattoos. If you already have one, you can give me an explanation. I'll see if it's a decent explanation. I might allow it, I might not. Right? So that's a few of them. What I look for, they have to like kids. 100% have to like kids. Have to have a good relationship with their parents. Like, obviously they have to like kids, right? Because I am going to be a father someday. So, then, right? So, what I would recommend for you to do now is to get a piece of paper or go onto your laptop and open up a document or take out a notepad and pen and take down everything you don't want. So, no vaping, no drugs, no sexual experience, yada yada, right? Obviously, right? And then on another list, literally map out exactly in autistic detail what you want your future wife to look like. And what I want you to do is to stay completely celibate until you find that girl. Right? Completely celibate. No porn, no masturbation, and no casual hookups. Nada. Nada. Okay? Simple as. And with me as well, 5 dates. That's what I usually go. Minimum 5 dates before I put out. Simple as. Right? So now we have that sorted, right? What we're going to talk about next is when you get into the relationship. Because this, right? This is very interesting, right? Most people have their standards and have their no and yes list, what they want their girl to look like and what they won't allow, right? What's very interesting is that all goes out the window the minute they get a girlfriend, which is awful, brutal, okay? Brutal. So, the way I approach it is I lay down ground rules, my boundaries. I lay down my boundaries the minute I get into the relationship. And certain boundaries I lay down is like, you won't be going out drinking. You're not going to have any male friends. Like, no wife of mine is going out drinking with her friends. No wife of mine will ever have male friends. Flat out. Right? It's that simple. 100% that simple. I'm not going to go through the entire list, obviously, but I set down my boundaries, break them, good luck. Simple as. No male friends. Absolutely not. No going out drinking with your friends either. Because I know what that scene is like. Right? So once you get into the relationship, you need to sit down with the girl, lay down your boundaries, your deal breakers and your boundaries. You break these, we break up. Break these more than once, and we're broken up. And you need to enforce your boundaries. Like, properly enforce your boundaries. Right? Simple as. Just properly enforce it. And the way I think of it is they're going to throw tests at you, shit tests at you. They're going to test your boundaries, and you just need to stand firm. No. That is not happening. Because once you let her break one of your boundaries, A, she's going to lose a load of respect for you. B, she's going to start breaking more of them. And C, it's just a complete lose-lose situation. So make sure you have your boundaries and your deal breakers, and you 100% do not allow them to be broken. Because so many people have their standards. Girl lives up to it. When they get into the relationship, they let her walk all over him. Your girl 100% is going to be telling you what you can and can't do. 100%, because you're not at that level where you're going to command respect, right? So, again, even I would say, don't settle down just yet. Like, literally wait until you find D1, the one. Like, what comes after the one? The next one. That was a fun joke. No, but seriously, right? Like, you need to hold yourself accountable, not settle for anything less than what you want. 100%. That's how I am. That's how most high performing people are. So don't lose yourself, because you're going to lose respect for yourself. She's going to lose respect for you. And it's just a complete lose-lose situation. So don't make those relationship mistakes. Obviously, don't break frame. Don't ruin it yourself. And obviously respect her boundaries as well. But at the same time, if you aren't in alignment on certain key issues, and this is another thing, right? Across the dates, maybe not on the first date, but throughout the dating, which I like to take the dating stage slowly. And the reason for that is actually quite specific. And that is, I like to, because I'm very opinionated, right? I have very strong, extreme opinions. So I want to see your political stance. I want to see your stance on a couple of political topics. I want to see your stance on kids. I want to see your stance on marriage, money. I want to see, I want to know what you think politically. I want to figure you out as a person. I want to know your family. And I want to know some key things. And again, I'm not revealing it in this video. Obviously, I'm not putting that out there. But there's some key questions I ask that indicate to me what bracket this girl is going in, whether she's going into wifey, whether she's going into friend zone, or otherwise. So that's just how I set the scene. Slowly get to know each other. Like, if she doesn't want her kids to be religious, right? One sec, sorry. If she doesn't want her kids to be religious, but you do, that's a key topic. If you want to raise your kids as right-wing conservatives, and she is a blue-haired leftist liberal, which, again, I don't date liberals, so, you know, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, another right-wing bigot saying he won't date a liberal. Well, I won't, so, you know, whatever. But, you know, political, religious, family, etc. You need to know these key things before you even settle with a girl. Because if not, it's just going to lead to heartbreak down the line, because you're not going to marry this girl if you're not in alignment. Now, if she's open to change on it, whereas I want my kids to be Roman Catholic, right-wing conservatives, like, why am I saying this? And certain other beliefs I want to instill in my children, and the woman is not in alignment with that's just going to cause huge problems. Again, knowing in and around the number of kids that both of you want might help resolve it. But even over the dating stage, discussing it, if it's not a deal breaker for you and she says she wants 4 kids but you only want 2, which I don't know why you'd want less kids than her, but whatever. Then, and that's not a complete deal breaker and you can work on that over time, then okay, fine. But religion, politics, and a couple of other key issues are complete no-nos for me, and other certain things, like questions I ask to understand if the girl is going into the wife bracket or not. So I have no problem being your friend, like, we can be friends, but you're not going to that side. And I'm going to put this out there for any lad that is listening to this. Just because you originally put a girl in the friend zone doesn't mean you can't change it after. You understand me, right? It's very interesting to think of, right? I believe anyway. So once she's in the friend, if that's what you believe, if she changes or if you put her into the friend temporarily accidentally, then if she's willing for it, you can move her over later. Me and you do not have to be in 100% alignment about standards, about boundaries, and about how you approach. Like, you might be okay with a girl having a previous sexual past, I'm not. Stuff like that, So, anyway, have a lovely day. I've spoken for 22 minutes, so we're going to put this to an end now. Any questions you may have, put them in the comments or text my Instagram, and I might answer them. Probably will. And yeah, have a lovely day. Talk to you tomorrow. Mwah.